hungry. Morning, welcome to day 96. Still got a good view. Unfortunately, it is raining a tiny bit. I'm not sure if it'll continue. It's also quite cold. Ready to go? Me too. Alright, we're finally ready to roll. It's been a pretty leisurely morning. It's already noon. We're gonna go see the monastery, and then we're gonna head down the coastline on the old road following the lake shore. There's supposed to be a few more ruins to look forward to, like ruins, not runes. And first we just have to get up and down this mountain. This is really steep. There's a lot of dead grass from people treading on it, which is really slippery. Way harder than going down. Definitely way easier to go down than it is to go up, even with the stairs. I'm sort of running out of sound effects, but I'll throw a few in there. Now I'm going to start to do quotes. So if you can tell me where the quote is from, and you get all of them, you will win, well, nothing. I can't afford anything. But I'll be very proud of you. Crunch, 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 crunch. Here's the beginning of the ruins of the monastery. Apparently it was founded in 1143. And ran until 1527 when the Swedish crown closed it down and confiscated everything, including the 224 farms it owned. That's a lot of farms. That alone moves the wheels of history. The sign says that they excavated it sometime in the, crap, I forgot, 1800s, 1900s, relatively recently compared to its age. And they also said they did some restoration work. I'm not sure to what extent, but I doubt they would have like reconstructed any of the arches. I think it was more like stabilization and maybe putting back rocks, but that's just purely conjecture. However, they did a great job. It looks really good. You were drag racing in a Prius. Some of the rooms survived intact ceilings, unless this is one of the ones they restored, but I don't think it is. It's a cool method of construction ceilings though. Here's a view of sort of the entire property laid out as it would have been, as it was. Really only the chapel has a ton of integrity left, but you can sort of see the foundation walls in most of the other buildings. Almost 1,000 years since these were laid. Indubitably.
Short cows, little cows in the middle and big cows on the other side, and we have boxes there too, and it's a replica on that side.
Well, that was cool. I met a guy, his name was Per, and he said he's worked here for 9 years. He was here when this building was constructed. It also has giant wood beams. You can't really see them from here, but he said here in Sweden the price of steel is so expensive, I don't know if this is true in America too, that it actually makes the price of those giant wood beams I saw yesterday comparable. Correction, I had a great basement. Now it smells like tacos. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy. Both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me. We found a bike path that leads through the fields to the next town, which is awesome. So I don't have to be on the roadside with my dog. And just literally, there was like a small sign, I couldn't read it, but I was like, it said 50 meters. I was like, all right, I'll check it out if it's only 50 meters away. It's more of these rock carvings. They said they're from the Bronze Age. They depict ships and chariots pulling the sun across the sky. We're just out here in the middle of nowhere. It's amazing how much history there is. But liquor, our prices have never been lower. You can pause it and read it if you want. I am Beyonce, always. This is an unbelievably scenic trail. It's just incredible how common these are in Sweden. We gotta do this in America. We gotta. Somebody making soup. Barack is president. Made it to the next town. Here's their little square. It's really nice, actually. Too windy for sound. inspired quote here. Welcome back to the Golden Arches. I've realized that my feelings about this place are basically an addiction, and it's not good. But when you're hungry and it's available, I'm tempted by the hotel room. At least to see if it's available. I'm cold and tired and smell bad. Somebody found a stick. This whole complex was apparently built largely in the 18th century. I think they're the original buildings. And their hotel, it's a hotel now. I didn't really realize that the first time I walked by it. So it just looked like an old place, you know, like I don't know, maybe a preserved part of Old Town that's there for display but not for use. Apparently they're all for use. However, reception closed 20 minutes ago. And online where it says you can book, it does not have today listed as an available check-in day. So maybe it's all full. But I think it includes these little cabins with houses, and apparently one of these buildings is a school, probably this one. Fascinating design. This is an observation I noticed like 3 or 4 days ago. A lot of these houses that are adjacent to what is now kind of like a big-ish road have gates leading right to the road. They were all either overgrown or crumbling, or there's like literally a tree in the middle of it, indicating they haven't been used for forever. My thought is like this road used to be a much smaller, either smaller road or a pathway, or you know, just really easy. But now, since cars go 80 kilometers an hour on it, all of them that have pathways leading right from the road to the house, they've all become abandoned because it's not practical anymore. I don't edit my videos in terms of color, I don't really know. So that is quite a bright rainbow actually. In fact, you can see it that far away. It is really bright. I love you, baby. Somewhere. Da, da, da. This is what we're going with for tonight. The views from tonight's camping spot, which is just right up the hill, are pretty great. We did find another shelter. I'll show you a few shots of it, but it was already occupied by a gentleman named Freddie. Jack's ready to go to sleep. And I don't think, or I asked him, he'd prefer not to be on camera, which is, of course, totally fine. But this is the view, literally maybe 50 feet down the hill from the shed. Right over there. Jack, calm down. Don't go charging around Freddie. And this is what it looks like. Whoa. Jack's got some hardcore zoom going on right now. So that's probably going to call it for us for the night. See you next time. By that I mean tomorrow, hopefully, probably. Welcome to the new normal of Sweden. A cold day. We're just backing up camp. Not sure what this place is, but it looks nice. Alright, here's the plan for day 97. We're walking along the lake shore right now. It's actually really nice once we're back in the sun. It's not so cold. There's another town coming up. I think it's still like 10 miles out, which is fine because the walking is pleasant right now. And I might get a hotel room there. I stink pretty bad. And the dampness kind of makes you feel it more. When it's dry out, everything evaporates and you don't feel quite so slimy. But when it's clammy and cold and damp, you feel a little extra slimy. Maybe I won't get a hotel room. Today is supposed to be like the last day of no rain. I haven't gotten up yet. This spot is strangely comfortable. Well, Jack snuggled up against me and it was cute. You smell kind of bad, Jack. You need a bath too. Alright, we're about 4.5 miles into our day so far today. Plan is to get to this next town called Grana. I don't actually know how to pronounce the vowels that have umlauts over them. I just thought you should know about 30% of the time when we're walking, I just look at Jack and go, Jack, I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you, boy. You're so cute. And yeah, about 30% of my time is spent doing that. I should have known. Poop ball. If you get that one, I'll be really impressed. It's from a deleted scene. There's definitely a trend amongst them I don't know if any of you will understand the trend. That's what I call a roof. Look at that. It's all glass. That is awesome. Probably gets warm in there in the summer and cold in the winter, but the views have got to be pretty good of the big lake, Lake of Vathern, I think. In addition to having a good view of the lake, that glass house right there has a really good view of that old castle ruin. I don't know a lot about the castle ruin yet. Unfortunately, it's going to be really hard for me to get up that wall. I don't know if I'll be able to at all, honestly. But I do know it's called like Brahehus, is how I would pronounce it in English. And it looks really cool. It's missing a roof, obviously, so it wouldn't be a very good shelter at the moment from the rain. Whee! She-bop, she-doo. Nice town. I like the paver stones. Very cute and ornate. Alright, I've made it to Grena. I was talking to my dad and I can't record on my phone while I'm doing that. If only I had like some nice cameras that I could record footage on when I was busy using my phone to make a phone call. Today has oscillated back and forth between freezing, putting on my jacket, and taking it off no less than 5 times. Now it's nice and sunny and there's no wind anymore, so got rained on twice. It's just crazy. But the weather's still supposed to be nasty tomorrow. But I don't want to just like sit here and then pay for a hotel room twice, because money and progress and boring. So I think there's a shelter. I think there's a shelter about 3 miles down the road. I think I'm going to try to see if I can take advantage of. And then there's a hotel that said they're pet friendly, which has a reasonable rate about 10 miles down the road. So if I woke up tomorrow, the rain is supposed to start at noon. I could, in theory, make it to the hotel, get a shower, get out of the rain, and get the hotel room all in one go. Ready-do-do-do. I think that's a hot air balloon in the middle of that. Obviously not a functional one. This is the bathroom in the gas station. It's pretty sweet. Finally found a place with outdoor outlets and a seating area. It started raining, so umbrellaed. Cold again. I'm over this weather. It's really not a big deal, I know. I'm being dramatic, but I constantly have to think about it. It's irritating me. Look at those streaks of sunlight, though. It's got some serious Hidden Valley vibes to it. Oh, that little bridge. That one. Very quaint. On the road, right there. Saw this building. I was like, oh, cool. Wonder what that was. Because I find abandoned stuff really interesting. If you look right there, those 2 circles, right there and right there, this was an outhouse. Sometimes that app has failed me. Actually, this is the first time it's really failed me. This is the building they were talking about, but you can see it's full of trash, which is not awesome. And then there's 2 little rooms. I think it was a changing room of some sort. But those are boarded closed, so the roof would have been a big enough space, but for all the little divisions. This big old barn is on this nature reserve, which I feel like usually means it's public land. And almost always all the buildings are closed and locked, so you don't really know what's going on inside of them. This one was just open, so I came inside. You always wonder what's behind all these old buildings, and then once you finally actually get the chance to see, you realize it's generally just old garbage. There's a bunch of like wagons and machines that I don't understand and weird bed things. A bunch of tires, lumber, roof tiles, a bunch of old wood, a bunch of old windows, just miscellaneous haphazard garbage, as is usually the case. Alright, some unexpected good news. Some unexpected intermediate news. I was reading the sign just to see if I was allowed to camp on this nature reserve, because you're not always allowed to do that. Camp on the nature reserve, that is. Ooh, let me figure out which way I need to go. So there was a sign, and it was like, yeah, you can camp here, just caravans can't camp here for longer than 8 hours, but it seemed like tents were fine. And then I found a piece of it. And I said, oh, and by the way, in the middle of this nature reserve, there is a camping shelter. I was like, oh, cool. It's not on my little app. It's one of the ones that's unlisted, which I think is actually pretty common. I think the app has lots and lots of them listed, but I bet you, like, percentage-wise, it might only be like half. I think there's a ton of these things out there that get, like, forgotten, or just aren't listed, or, like, aren't compiled on any single source. Anyway, so as we were sitting down, I was trying to verify whether it was there still. The sign is kind of old. Sometimes they get worn down or burnt or neglected, forgotten, destroyed. The lady came off the trail. She spoke very little English, but she tried very hard, and she was very sweet. Her name was Maya. And she's like, oh yeah, it's still there, and it's nice. It's very nice. It's just like 2 kilometers down the road. So that's the reason it's intermediate news instead of good news. But at least the road is kind of nice. Easy to roll down, relatively speaking. And it's not that late. So all is well. The only potential unfortunate bit is that tomorrow, when we're kind of hoping to get far fast, we're going to have to undo all of this. Go back. Because I think it's an out and back kind of road. Talk, 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 talk. All I do is talk. So Maya told us that the shelter was off the main road to the right. So I saw a path that led to the right. And I took it thinking I didn't want to miss the shelter. Maybe this was it. And I've been going up and down these valleys in slidey shoes for half an hour now. Worst decision I've made in a very long time. It's just, there's all these skinny bridges. That piece of wood over there covers a tiny stream, so I have to like lean the cart on one wheel. It's just not fun. This was a bad idea. Oh, I'm regretting it so much. I don't know if you can tell in that last clip, but I was pretty much at my wit's end with these hills. I mean, they're steep and the cart is so heavy, I lose traction constantly. Oh, I slipped so many times and the cart almost rumbles away from you and cameras fall off it, and it's just a very good recipe to make someone lose their mind. But the next hill had the shelter, but it's just like a sitting shelter. You can't sleep in it. And I feel like that's something Maya should have mentioned. There was admittedly a language barrier. Obviously I'm not frustrated with her. I'm just surprised she didn't say like, oh, you couldn't really sleep in it because it's only 2 feet deep and there's only a bench. So coming here was pretty fantastically unnecessary. It's no better here than anywhere else. In fact, I might go back out towards the parking lot area and just camp there so I don't have to make up that distance in the morning. Like, I genuinely am considering doing that, and I think I'm going to. That was frustrating. But the reserve was very pretty. I can remember that through the red haze of my anger. Not really, just like I said, it was difficult. And at least I got to see this little portion of the world that I wouldn't have otherwise.